How's it, Bills Mafia? Lance Nelson, president of Built in Buffalo. To my left, Scott Casson. To my right, Benjamin Shoop. It's Chiefs week. Ben and I chose to wear red for some unforeseen reason, but we're not scared of the superstition, apparently. I'm excited. Could be the game of the week in the NFL here, week 9, Bills versus Chiefs, with the two not sitting at first place in their divisions, but still, Bills are first place in our hearts, right? So, Shoop, what's going on week 9? You ready for this?
Yeah, always. It's always a fun one, no matter where they are in the standings, no matter what's going on. Chiefs, Bills, Mahomes, Allen. It's Reed, McDermott. It's they most of the time are great games, and it should be another one. Hopefully this weekend, and hopefully we're the happy ones. But yeah, it's a good test now to see if
Secret, I'm going to
maybe.
be happy regardless.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's a good mindset there. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a good test to see if last week was it a fluke with the defense? Was it a fluke kind of with just how well they dominated? Obviously, I don't know if you're gonna dominate this game, even if you win it. But yeah, it's gonna be a good test no matter what. See what these guys got against a team that is getting better week by week and now fully back healthy with everybody that they were missing, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, the demise of the Chiefs dynasty was greatly exaggerated. I think I said on the show, anybody telling you that the Chiefs are done is a football opinion you should not listen to, because 3 weeks later, they're right back where everybody thought that they were, looking like maybe the best team in the NFL with the best Super Bowl odds. Big test for the Bills this week. Been up and down so far to start the season. So really excited for Allen Mahomes, 10 at our place. Again, we're starting to catch up, which how many times we had to go to Arrowhead in the beginning. And pretty sure that the Chiefs will come to Buffalo again next year, assuming they finish in the same place. Or no, they'll come next year anyway because it's that division cycle. So maybe we'll see him in January as well. But very excited for Allen Mahomes, 10. And big test for both teams.
Indeed. Shout out to Monster Energy Drink getting me through on this Thursday. Monster Energy is the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo and 716 Barbershop on Broadway in Depew. Check out 716 on the Cut app to book your cut. Guys, I'm super excited for week 9. I think it's going to be a raucous house there at Highmark, but I don't know that people need to get too excited one way or the other. I know the Bills have lost 2 games in a row in the middle of the season, and that really took a negative turn with a lot of fans on how they look at this team. But look, I think it's pretty likely that the Bills get into the playoffs. And I know we want to be the 1 seed. That's always the goal. But I don't think that losing a game in week 5, week 6, or week 9 is going to deter the team from winning the Super Bowl ultimately. If anything, it may motivate them more. It's going to show them more about what they need to work on. And there's plenty of flaws with this team, but I don't think any of them are going to prohibit the team from having a chance to compete at the end of the year. I know it's not ideal. I know we'd love for them to be perfect at every and execute in every way in this game, but they're, it's a slow burn. They're building up to playing their best football at the end of the season. So I'm excited to see what this game brings, another step towards what we will see at the end of the year, getting a couple guys back potentially. So, the lineups kind of fluctuated here and there, and we're going to get into the injuries soon. But let's just take a minute to reflect a little bit on the Panthers game, if we may. Guys, James Cook is pretty good at football. Michael Hoyt arrived. Hairston's first game. Scott, go ahead. Take us at all 3, or take us one or the other, or however you want to roll with the Panthers game reflection.
Yeah, James Cook is good. Player of the week. There's some debate between him or Jonathan Taylor, but Jonathan Taylor does that every week, so it's honestly not that surprising. It's surprising for James Cook. But yeah, awesome game. What he finished with 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he didn't play the fourth quarter. So awesome week for him. And the Bills needed that. We said it on the show on Thursday last week, they needed to get back to basics. And running the football is what this offense does really, really well. And they were able to do that. the passing game, there was something there to be desired. Josh missed a couple throws. Guys weren't getting open, and when they were, Josh wasn't seeing them or not hitting them. It just looked a little bit off, so it was nice to have that run game to fall back on, where it didn't really – we probably could have won that game if the Bills didn't complete one pass, to be honest with you, the way James Cook was running the ball. And you mentioned Michael Hoyt. He looked great. He could be the guy this team is missing, but Ed Oliver went down, could be done for the season, at the very least done for the regular season. So it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We finally get a few guys back, then Ed Oliver goes down. But really like what you saw from Hoyt and Ogunjobi, and you hope that continues going forward.
Yeah. I happened to be during the game playing a little volleyball, so I had to go back and kind of catch up after the game from what I didn't see. And I want to shout out, there's an Instagram feed and a page, I believe they're on Facebook as well. It's film.watchers1. I don't know what the guy's name is, but one of my favorite pages, he posted after the game how the Bills beat the Panthers with the same play 9 times. That little toss to James Cook. And they kept just running it over and over, what side it was. They would give different looks with motions to mess with them. And it continued to work for him. And that could be something that with James Cook being what he's doing, what he's been doing, I think if you can get that offensive line into rhythm, especially going forward with teams against teams like Kansas City, Philly, whoever it is, New England, to be able to get going with those types of plays that hey, this is our bread and butter. Get James Cook going, open it up for Josh maybe on play action then. So, yeah, James Cook is amazing. Could definitely reads the play well. But at the same time, I also want to say the offensive line sets it up. The Jackson Hawes sets it up, even Shavers when he's out there. So just overall, the run game, I think like we've been saying before this week, before the Panthers week, was you got to stick with it. You got to continue it. It will open things up elsewhere. So didn't have to do much in the passing game because obviously James Cook did what he did. Michael Hoyt, yeah, I mean, the defensive line, man, I know Ed Oliver just went down, but I'm really liking this defensive line. I said it before the show a couple weeks ago. I went on WGR. Lance knew that I went on WGR. I called in, and I just mentioned how the line. Yeah, no, I wasn't on there.
I was like, I just guessed.
No, I was driving up to Brockport. I was like, I might call in. Lance was like, do it. So called in. And I was just saying the defensive line.
To hear your voice.
I like the defensive line. I think now having Hoyt back will help. And I think Hairston now on the outside, which we saw Hairston, will be able to provide different looks for the defense to be able to give the offense. You'll be able to get a little bit more aggressive. The pass rush might even have a little bit more time to get home because the pass rush, even before this past week, where they 6 sacks this past week against the Panthers, even before that, I thought the defensive line was getting good pushes. They just weren't finishing. And a lot of that had to do also with the fact that people were getting open and quarterbacks would get the ball off fast. So I think Hairston Hoyt is a good sign. Hopefully they can keep it going. And, shout out Reggie Gilliam as well. Reggie Gilliam, awesome. Make fullbacks great again. Fullbacks deserve more love than they get. And, shout out Reggie Gilliam.
Right on. I mean, if only somebody would have been telling you guys since he got signed that Michael Hoyt was going to come in and light some shit up. But I was very excited to see Hoyt out there. Obviously, I've been saying it, and I was really excited to see how big of a contribution he did make. And, I think he's going to continue to do that. I know it's just the Panthers that he did that against, and maybe we shouldn't get all that excited about what they do against Carolina, but hey, he went out there and beat the man in front of him, and I think he's going to continue to make that impact week in and week out for this team. James Cook continues to impress. He's now within 100 yards of Jonathan Taylor for the most yards rushing on the season, leads the league in yards per carry. So, pretty excited to see what James Cook will do this week, especially against a really tough defense. Maxwell Hairston laid a nice lick in the game. It was one of the plays I noticed from him, and we'll see how that translates here. He's going to have his work cut out for him, obviously. against some speed here at Kansas City. I'm excited that he can be one of those guys that hopefully is well enough to match that. Obviously, he's our fastest player, so I'm excited to see how that speed translates against Kansas City for sure. We're going to get into that. Ed Oliver tore his bicep. He posted on his Instagram that he'd only be out about a month or so, but I bet you it'll be a lot longer than that. But he seemed to think that he just needs a month to heal up. But we'll see. It's good to see him in good spirits, posting on social media. I'm sure.
I think that's combination joke and painkillers.
Yeah, I was going to say the drugs must be pretty good there. So what do you guys have to say about Ed Oliver and the torn bicep?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because he had, 3.5 sacks in almost 4 games, not even. Maybe less than that.
No, yeah, it's 2.5.
2.5 games. Yeah, it's he was playing great football. Hopefully, if he can somehow heal fast, but biceps are tough sometimes because those can linger throughout your career. Because if biceps don't heal the same as other parts of the body, and when you're a defensive lineman where you're reaching a lot, he might be able to feel that. So if they do try to get him back, I really hope they don't over push it and then he can get re-injured, because it is an injury that can definitely affect somebody long term if they don't heal correctly. So yeah, I it sucks to see for Ed, but hopefully he can heal up well, whether it's quick or takes a while.
Ben knows this from having such big biceps.
Yep.
I was going to say, I want to take this from Scott because he might be the only one on the show that has biceps, but
yeah, you hate to see it for Ed. Like Ben said, he was playing so well, but I guess silver lining, you got Ogunjobi back, you got Hoyt back. They signed a guy to the practice squad who we'll talk about in a little bit. So some people saying online that the defense is ruined now. I don't think that's true. He's a big part of the defense, but he's not the whole defense. So if he can come back in the playoffs, that would be great. But I just hate to see it for Ed because he's a guy who loves football so much, and he was playing so well. And to see him go down for maybe the season, it's a big blow. But next man up.
Yeah, the karma of dodging me at the car show continues to come back and haunt Ed Oliver. So,
So you're saying it's your fault?
I guess. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that guy is obviously a high energy guy, somebody that sets the tone for the defensive line in a lot of ways, and would be nice to see him being able to be out there and paired with Hoyt because it worked quite well for the time they were out there. But that is not to be. So we have to buckle up with the guys that we have, and we'll see what the Bills do at that position to fill the void. It's obviously got to talk to Deion Walker a little bit this week. He's on an episode of Buffalo Under the Helmet, which just dropped as we went live. So after you're done watching us, go check out Buffalo Under the Helmet on their YouTube channel. But shout out to those guys who have us out there at Wingnuts each and every episode. But Deion was very understanding that he needs to probably step up a bit now that Ed Oliver isn't going to be there, but he's also just going to approach it and try not to make too much out of it, try not to do too much more than what he can do within his skill set. And it's nice to see that he's prepared at least to sort of take that challenge on. So stinks for Ed, like you guys said, and we'll hope he can come back as quick as possible. Initial thoughts were, he's done for the year, but we'll see if he can make a miraculous comeback or not. It'll
get him on a little Ray Lewis special there. We'll get him back for the playoffs.
There we go. All right, 7-1 Slicker of the Week, Michael Hoyt this week, as we were singing his praises prior to this segment. Michael Hoyt played 38 snaps, 3 tackles, 2 stops, 1 hustle stop, had 21 pass rushes, 1.5 sacks, 5 QB pressures, a 23.8 pressure rate. Really came out and just with all the energy. We talked about it sort of leading up to his first game, the energy he brings, the way he's going to come out with his hair on fire. So Michael Hoyt is our 7-1 Slicker of the Week here. Moving on to what's going to happen from now and through week 9 and even in the future. A little bit of quick thoughts on the Bills making a trade here. Do you guys think that the Bills are going to make a move to try to get something either on the defensive line, wide receiver, or even the secondary? Scott, what do you think about the Bills' chances to really make a move, or where they might look first to add to this roster?
Every day that goes by, it's feeling more and more like maybe they're not. The trade deadline is on Tuesday. Tomorrow's Halloween, so that's a wash. And then we got the game on Sunday, so that's a wash too. So Bean really only has 2 days to get something done. But every day that goes by, it feels like maybe they're not. And if we know anything about Brandon Bean, he's not just going to make a move that he doesn't love. He's not going to give up more than he wants to give up. And he's not going to put the team in a situation that, even though it may help them right now, could hurt them in the future. So a lot of people on Twitter are calling for a lot of different players to be traded. But if it's not a situation that Bean loves, he's not going to do it. So I still lean towards, yes, they're going to do something, but I don't think it's going to be a big splash. They have the lowest amount of cap space of any team in the league, and it's way harder to basically make money disappear. There's less money in the banana stand during the season. In the off season, you can do a lot more things, get creative. I don't really know if there's any more guys that they can restructure. I know I've seen like Codrington get cut. That saves like a little bit of money, like a few $100,000, but that's about how much they have left. So it would not shock me if they didn't make a move, just because teams know that teams at this point are desperate, and Bean's not going to get taken advantage of. He's not going to give up more than he wants. If they are to do something, I do think it would be for a receiver. I think that they think they can make do with the defense with the guys they have. Now that we've seen these 3 guys come back this past week, they've made the move at safety to have Poyer come in featuring some Hancock there as well. So if they do make a move, I think it's going to be on the offensive side of the ball, but I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't make one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of similar with Scott, where I don't really know. Like it's one of those years where you kind of, you get the feeling that, if it's the right move, they will, but they're not going to force it because I think they like who they have. It's not like last year where you're like, okay, you needed to go get Amari Cooper. Like you needed 2 years ago. Just pressing it to precedent.
He had times to do it and he didn't. So now he's forcing it.
Yeah, now he's just forcing
it. I was waiting awkward silence after 7-1 Slicker. I was waiting for the applause.
Yeah.
Missed my opportunity.
But so as I was saying, or like 2 years ago, where you had to go out and get Rasul Douglas, you needed to go get another corner. You needed to do something. You can go get a receiver, but I don't know if they think, hey, we have to go get a receiver, or hey, we have to go get a safety because Poyer or Hancock can go back there. Now that Hairston's back, they don't need to get a corner. And now even with Ed out, I don't think they feel the need to go get one because Deion Walker's playing well. You get Hoyt back, you get Ogunjobi back. So it doesn't feel like they're going to force it, and it seems like teams probably are over asking for what guys are going for nowadays. I think I even saw a report saying that Jacoby Myers, they want a day 2 pick. I don't know if a single team will give up a day 2 pick for Jacoby Myers, who's on a expiring deal. Like it's just that it's not going to happen when you have guys that are expiring deals. Shaheed's an expiring deal. They're not going to overpay for a guy like Shaheed, as much as fans may want it to. What happens if you get Shaheed, it doesn't work, now you're out of a day 2 pick? Like it's just, they're not going to force these moves if they don't make sense. And I know sometimes it's frustrating, but it's better than having a GM and an organization that was just going to go overspend just to overspend because they feel the need to go all in for a guy that isn't, a superstar in this league. So I don't think, it's like they still can, teams might come down once it gets to Monday, Tuesday, right? Where it's getting towards that deadline. But I just, I don't, it doesn't seem like they will unless teams do come down.
And last year they had that extra 3rd round pick. So it really wasn't that big of a deal to trade for it. And then the year before they were able to make some trades. They probably knew they weren't going to trade or pick in the 1st round. Traded back, got the extra 3rd. They don't have extra picks this year, so a little less wiggle room with them.
The only team that seems like they're selling like heavily and not caring what they get back is Tennessee. And does Tennessee have anybody that besides maybe Simmons that you'd want? And I think they came out and said, "Hey, we're not getting rid of Simmons."
Ward and Simmons are not on the block. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
but like
available.
anybody else, you don't really want. I mean, Calvin Ridley, you don't want that contract, right? Unless somehow you can make them void it or something. But you're not going to want to do that. But they probably also still want to keep him unless the price is right. Just to give Cam Ward another weapon that's experienced. Safety wise, do they really have anybody? I'm actually blanking on who they even have. Like, I just don't know if a team like the Titans are the team to go ask, just because of the fact that they don't seem to want to give up those players that would help the Bills. Saints, maybe, but again, it seems like the Saints are kind of reluctant to do so. So I don't know if there's a team out there that's heavily selling that the Bills can make a deal with that would be a good one.
Outside of prying away Chris Olave, I'm not really sure that I want to really get anybody from the Saints either, especially if the price is too high, like you mentioned. So I think I would quote unquote overpay for Olave. Probably. I like the idea of having that, but just because he's been a volume guy, and I think like that would be cool. Like we feed Shakir probably the most volume if we want a volume guy, or Kincaid when he's healthy. So wouldn't hurt to have another guy that they can go to and do that if they really wanted to, and probably have more success than any of the guys they currently have to do that with. But yeah, I honestly don't think the Bills are going to make a move. I think they're going to like, hey, we made our bed, and this is sort of like not necessarily a rebuild year, but this is sort of like, hey, we've kind of laid the groundwork of what we're going to be, and we have to just work within the constraints of this roster and this cap situation. So,
and the other thing I do want to say quick on Olave, I see a lot of people pounding the table, go get Olave, go get him. Same type of fans that about Benford. Why are we paying him? He's had so many concussions. Why, like Chris Olave is one concussion away from being Tua. In that realm of how many concussions he already is there. He's had 4 concussions since he was in their league, maybe more. Like, it's a huge risk to a guy that you're going to have to re-sign, who, yes, is a very good football player, but it's a big risk because one more hit, who knows what happens, right? It's just, and that's the only part to me that kind of confuses me sometimes, seeing people on Twitter or wherever it is going nuts saying you got to go get Olave, give up anything you have to. And then there'll be this, if he does get hurt, would be the same ones complaining, why are you going to go get a concussion-riddled guy that can't stay on the football field? Like, that's the part that sometimes, at least from what I see, just bothers me, because it's like, you got to just pick one side and stay consistent here. And as I would like Olave, but don't overpay for a guy like Olave that has had some concussion problems and you have to pay.
Yeah, if you're going to, I mean, I guess the guys that you really would not mind overpaying for probably aren't available too. Like you have Garrett Wilson, right? Probably not super available to you, especially being in division and all that stuff, but a guy that you wouldn't mind, doing what you could to try to get him on their roster. So I ultimately don't think the Bills will get the deal that they'd want. And for that, and then not overpaying, like you mentioned, just like kind of precludes them from making a lot of moves. People forget sometimes, like, you can't just force trades through. You have to actually have a partner that's willing to accept your deal. And you have to, figure out a deal that works both ways. And I don't think someone's going to work enough with Brandon Beane right now to make the take a deal that he wants to make. He does try to get things, on the cheap as best he can. So if they do make a move, sort of like what Scott said, it's not going to be a super splash.
The last name that I was actually going to bring up before I even saw the comment here, Bob, obviously saying to swap Coleman for Thomas Jr. Now, that'd be nice. Well, you'd probably have to give up more if you gave up Thomas. We're going to get Thomas Jr., but that's another guy where if Jacksonville is actually willing to sell this guy after year 2, that to me says something. That
I think they said they're not.
I even if they do, though, like Brian Thomas Jr. has had one of the worst seasons of any wide receiver one on a team this season. He's had drop issues. Feels like he doesn't want to go over the middle. Yeah, he's been getting open, but he's dropping balls. His attitude's been an issue. He's been just an issue in general. And if the Jags even did move on, to me, that tells me they're trying to get off of him before teams start to realize that this guy might be a problem when it comes to whatever it is. Because if you watch a Jags game this year, anytime the ball is thrown over the middle, he does not look like he wants to.
He alligator arms it and doesn't want to get hit. Yeah.
And if you're already frustrated with Coleman and not getting open, imagine a guy getting open but not catching the ball or alligator arm it because he doesn't want to get hit. Like that would be to me.
I'd almost rather have that.
Either way, it's bad. That's my point. Is like either way, you're going to be like annoyed about it because if you're getting a guy, and he's on a rookie contract. I mean that's another one where like if you can do it, if the Jags say we'll do Coleman for Brian Thomas Jr., you got to do it. But at the same time, there are still risks to a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., who had a great rookie year, but this year has been lost in an offense that seems to be better.
Yeah, definitely. You guys got anything else on that?
Nope.
All right. So we're going to move along. But a lot of talk recently that the pass game just seems off, and that's very true. So do you guys want to play a game with me? You want to do blind resumes?
Sure. You want to play a game?
Yeah. All right, you ready? Here's QB1. 119 for 189, 63% completion, 1,483 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, no picks, and a 47.9 success rate. That's QB1. QB2. 134 for 197, 68% completion percentage, 1,560 pass yards, the same 12 touchdowns, 4 picks, 48.7% success rate. Would you like to guess at who those two guys are?
Well, I already know.
I bamboozled you. They're both Josh Allen. The one with worse stats was actually Josh last year through 7 games, and the Josh with better stats, plus a couple picks, Josh this year through 7 games. So is it time to worry about the passing game, or do we just have to let it find a rhythm? Because people seem to forget. They started a little slow last year too, and then picked it up right around this time. So do you anticipate that, Lance, or do you think there's something that this isn't there this year?
It may be true that they're missing a component to really unlock getting guys open more consistently, but I still think that the guys that are here, if they can be healthy, like if Josh Palmer can come back to being healthy, it seemed like he was getting open. Elijah Moore got open last game and either dropped it or Josh missed him. So like there are times where guys are getting open, and I think that's more just them figuring out and hitting their stride. I think you have a guy lurking on the practice squad that we're going to talk about in a few minutes here as well that could help a little bit. And I think that
Steven Gosnell.
The passing game I think people need to be patient with the passing game. It's week 9 coming up here. Like, we don't want to be firing on all cylinders at this point in the season. Like, yeah, it would be nice if we could do everything perfectly all year long. It's just not realistic to expect. Yes, we would like it to look better. I'm not suggesting the Bills are without flaws and this passing game and the offense are perfect. I'm just suggesting that it's a build. You have to keep going through these games, going through the failures to get to seeing what you can do best at playoff time. That this team's going to the playoffs, and if they want to compete, they have to try things. And if these things don't work, then they have to try new things, and those things might not work, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't look pretty. It stinks to watch as a fan at sometimes, and it really stinks when Josh Allen appears to be off as well, because you're like, well, where's our MVP superstar guy not bailing us out here? And I get all that. I'm staying patient. I think that the team's going to work through this period. The passing game is going to be just fine. I think Joe Brady has the capability to draw up plays that are going to be successful. And right now, it didn't look good because we lost 2 games in a row, and then people had to sit on a bye week. But we came back and ran the ball down Carolina's throat, and now we have the big test coming this week. We'll really see more about what the Bills are capable of. But again, not necessarily fully, because I don't know the health of Josh Palmer. And it's one of those things where this is going to be building up to who's going to be available at the end of the year and then how to best utilize those guys. I think we're going to see a few things we haven't seen this week, and we'll get into that during the offensive segment. But I'm not worried, overall, not worried about the passing game. I think they're going to find their stride here, and they're just going to keep working it.
Yeah, I think it's fine for people to worry. Definitely, like I think there's
Not allowed.
yeah, not allowed for Lance. But I think there's like it's all right to say, hey, this looks off. You need to clean it up. But again, we do this every year around this time. Is something's off. Teams struggle at certain points with certain things. The Chiefs have past 2 years have struggled with certain things. The Eagles have struggled with certain that's part of the NFL is growing throughout the season, and whoever can end up the best. Because if you were the best in week one, a lot of times the best team in week one doesn't go on to win the Super Bowl. That's just how it is. You have to improve each week, and I think the passing game is part of that for this team. You had guys like Palmer who need to get on the same page with Josh. You have Joe Brady who's still evolving as a play caller as well. You had Kincaid get hurt, right? You have new guys like Samuel coming in as well. It's a lot of factors to it. Samuel can't stay on the field. Obviously, you still have your two guys when they're on the field, Kincaid and Shakir, that look good. But the other guys, they got to get acclimated. You got to kind of get them in there. And I do think, Lance and I, was it September that we went to watch the show with McGovern? And he even said how beginning of the season, they kind of just try vanilla plays. They're not trying to break the game in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're gonna wait until later in the season to really hone in and really get those go-to plays out of the playbook, right? You don't want to use your best plays in week 8,
right?
Because then everybody has seen it, right? You want to use them later in the season. So I think it's fine to say, yeah, the pass game needs to be better. Whether it's Josh, the receivers, the offensive line, everybody in the passing game needs to be better. But this is also a different type of offense where we've had 2 games where we didn't really need to throw the ball because James Cook took over. And it's a game where I think they're a team where they think they're trying to set certain things up down the road, right? They're trying to say, hey, we're going to be a very good running football team. And then when we want to, we're going to go attack you in the passing game. And you saw it week 1 against the Ravens, right? And you haven't really seen it too much since, but you haven't really had to see it besides the 2 losses. And the 2 losses, I still don't think was because, they couldn't complete a pass. It was because they gave their ball right back to the opponent. It's that simple. So if you're going to turn the ball over, that's going to be the issue. And I don't think turnovers right now in the passing game are the issue.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't looked great by any means, but last week they scored 40 points. They didn't need to do anything crazy in the passing game. Josh didn't look on, but he didn't need to be. So you wonder if that plays into it. Josh does look uncomfortable though. He's leaving pockets when he doesn't have to. I wonder if he's kind of sensing false pressure sometimes, and it could be sometimes, yeah, there aren't guys open but Josh doesn't really give the play a chance to work. He's leaving the pocket before routes downfield have developed. So would like to see, and that's partially on the O-line, that's partially on him setting the protections. So would like to see that get cleaned up. But Josh said it perfectly this week. He just has to trust it. He has to trust the line to block, the receiver to get open, him to make the throw. He doesn't have to try to do more than he has to on any given play. And it seems like sometimes before the play is even developed and taken off into what it's going to be, he's trying to do too much and get out of the pocket and extend it and do something when, hey, if he just stood in there another half a second, there's Curtis Samuel coming open in the end zone, or there's Keon Coleman open at the second level, but he rolled out and took a check down. So I think it'll get there. Like you both said, you don't want to show all your cards in September and October, and it's all building to later in the year. I think they're going to turn a corner, and I think we're going to see better play from the offense starting this week. But definitely something has to clean up.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt that have to change or need to improve. It just doesn't mean that it can't because it hasn't really looked great yet. So that's my biggest point I'm going to make. Gabe Davis is coming back onto the practice squad, activated this week, and I'm pretty excited for that. I think Gabe Davis can help this team in some way at some point. But do you think this week, this soon, is that point for Gabe Davis to get a shot? What do you think about that, Ben?
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him on the football field. Like he's obviously has chemistry with Josh, but I also don't really care if he's not. Like it's weird with Gabe. Like I know everybody's on the side where it's like no, I don't want to see him, or yes, I'm really excited to see him. I'm kind of just like, okay, like if he's out there, that'd be cool to see him back in Buffalo on the field and playing on Sundays. And see if he can kind of reconnect with Josh and then have a good game. But at the same time, there's also that thought of, hey, he could even be active and do absolutely nothing. Right? And either way, I wouldn't really care too much if either one. I think if there is a week to do it, it is this week, though, just because you have then 2 days after that to say, hey, do we want to go get somebody? Or if Gabe looks good and you're like, okay, well, we'll have Palmer coming back. We can have Gabe out there. You have Shakir, you have Kincaid. Then, yeah, maybe it's a different conversation than going into the trade deadline. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm kind of indifferent about if we should see him. When do we see him? I think if there is a week, it'd be this week.
I would be surprised if he plays this week, not because I don't think he should. I do think Gabe Davis will be on this team down the stretch and in the playoffs and contribute. He just came back to practice this week, and he didn't have a training camp, and he's coming off a meniscus. Like, I would just be very surprised if he has 2 days of practice, and they're like, all right, you got the Chiefs, buddy. Like, I think they're going to build him up for a little bit, and I do think he'll be on the active roster soon, but it's not like he's a guy who got hurt in camp or got hurt in week 1. Like, he hasn't done anything. And, yeah, you can work out on the side, but that's not the same. So who knows? Maybe I don't know anything, and he will play. I'd be very surprised, but I do think he contributes this year, and I think he's going to help. They're not asking him to be wide receiver 2 like they did for a couple of years. He's going to be wide receiver 4 or 5, and he's going to block his ass off because that's what he does, and he's going to run routes down the field, and that's what he does. And every once in a while, he's going to get open and catch touchdowns because that's also what he does. So I did see an interesting stat that after Joe Brady took over, he had, I think it was 6 or 7 games, and in 5 of them, he had 0 catches, 0 yards. And the other 2, he had like 130 yards and a touchdown. So it was very boom or bust. It was that Eagles game and that Chargers game on Christmas Eve that he went absolutely off in. So who knows? Maybe Joe Brady's been dreaming about those games for the last 2 years, and we'll see that out of game. But I'm excited to see what he's got, but I don't think it'll be this week.
I am ready to be frustrated by a Gabe Davis 0 reception line.
But anymore, would we be frustrated? Like, I don't think we would be, because we're getting 0 yards, 0 catches out of all our other receivers. So, like, what's another one out of wide receiver 5?
Yeah, for sure. No, I hear you. Yeah, the expectations are definitely going to be much less of him than they probably were last time around when he was here, especially his last season here, where he kind of had that. It was the big playoff game. Then the following season, I think those expectations.
Year 2, he had the big playoff game, and then year 3, he just didn't take a jump.
Yeah, so that's not necessarily. It's still going to be frustrating if he goes out there and plays enough snaps, but is not able to actually garner any receptions or any production. But it wouldn't be surprising for sure. It just would be a little disappointing for a guy. I met the guy personally. I'm a bigger fan of his than most, just because he was very kind to me and was very professional. I thought he handled himself well at a very young age. And so for that reason, I just hope that he does well. And whether it was with the Bills or not, I'm just going to root for the guy himself, but wouldn't mind some help on the football team either. So there's that. All right, we'll get going here. The Bills did sign Tommy Akingbasote. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly. I apologize if I botched it, but to the practice squad. And we're going to move into the injury report here. Bernard full both days. Bosa had a vet rest, but is full today. Ray Davis was ill yesterday, good today. Daquan taking still 2 DNPs for him. Matt Milano full both days, so we'll see if he can get back. Would expect Bernard for sure, but Milano is still. If he's full, I guess that would be a good sign. Palmer went from a DNP to a limited today. Jordan Phillips had a vet rest yesterday, but full today. Matt Prater's been limited with a calf injury both days, and then sort of surprising, Shaq Thompson was limited with a hamstring yesterday and then did not practice today. So I'm not sure if they're staggering guys not practicing or what. But what do you guys think? Do you want to talk about Tommy being signed to the practice squad at all, or the injury report? Give me your feelings on that, Scott.
Yeah, Tommy, Maryland guy, so I'll say that. He was a big-time recruit out of high school, chose to go to in-state school in Maryland. He's solid. He's a 3 technique. He can stop the run. He's a big boy, maybe more of a developmental guy than someone who's going to play right away, but a good guy to have in the system. And what I'm most interested in, honestly, is Matt Prater. Has a calf injury that they say is on his kicking leg. I'm no kicker, but that doesn't sound great. So maybe they save one of those practice squad call-up spots and have to go panic and find a kicker for Sunday. You hope that's not the case. You hope this is just precautionary and maybe he's just doing a little bit of a lighter workload. But sounds like Milano and Bernard will be back, which against the Chiefs and their passing game is huge. But as much as we joke that, kickers aren't people in a game like this, they sure could matter a whole lot. So you hope that Prater's okay or they have someone on speed dial.
Yeah. Yeah, Prater's the one that I'm actually watching the most, just because, in a game like this, kicker will be very important. If Bass is not even close, and they obviously probably isn't because they haven't opened his 21-day window yet. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with kicker. I would expect Milano to actually play if Thompson doesn't play.
I think Milano's playing anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a chance he does, even if Thompson does, but I think if Thompson does not play, it's for sure that you're probably going to put him out there, even if he's not 100% yet. But if he's a full participant, that's most likely he's going to be ready. So him and Bernard, hopefully they can kind of both get back to form and step up in this game. Palmer, not expecting him to play. Really, just don't want to force it, especially with a guy that you're going to need down the road. Daquan Jones, another guy, not really expecting him to play either. So I'm just hoping, whoever does play, we can limit the amount of injuries now this game. It's a big game, but at the same time, I don't want a guy gone for the season because of a Week 9 game. So, injuries suck. That's all I got to say.
Did you see what Matt LaFleur said about Brandon McManus?
Oh yeah, that he doesn't talk to the kickers.
Yeah, he asked him how he was. He said he looked good. I didn't ask him how he felt. I don't talk to kickers.
Kickers are off in their own world, is from what I hear in the NFL.
Yeah, our kickers would just go run laps on the indoor track and then not do anything.
Yeah, you gotta stay in shape.
Yeah, that's what
I'm looking forward to getting Milano and Bernard back here. Both logging full practices so far this week. I'm excited to see that tandem back, especially if Thompson's down. Would be great to have them back and healthy. So, again, Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built-In Buffalo, 716 Barbershop on Broadway and Depew, proud sponsors of the Triple Coverage podcast here on the Built-In Buffalo Network. We are going to be out with the Monster Energy tailgate at the Big Tree Inn. We appreciate the Big Tree Inn. And just a shout out real quick to Therese Fortin Barnes, who won the 2025 Buffalo Bills Fan of the Year. So she's the head of the Water Buffalo Club 716 and gracious to host us out there at the Big Tree, or kind of help us with the connection with the Big Tree there to get going. And very grateful for what she's done for Built-In Buffalo and for myself and our podcast personally here, welcoming us at each and every tailgate and really setting the stage for us to be there each and every week at the Big Tree Inn. So thank you, Therese, and congratulations on 2025 Fan of the Year. Well deserved. And also, go out to builtinbuffalostore.com. We got some cool merch out there. James Cook, the Ralph, and some other things going on that. Buffalogo is the site or the fulfiller of our merchandise. So shout out to Buffalogo, nice local Buffalo company. And then Southern Tier Brewing Company sponsoring Built-In Buffalo as well. So we'll have some Southern Tier beer this weekend at the Big Tree Inn. So stop on out and see us. 21 and older. And Scott, you want to take, or Ben, do you want to take the offense here for us? And we're going to start rocking and rolling with a little bit of the Chiefs preview here before the kickoff of the Thursday night football game. Again, the Triple Coverage podcast here on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network.
You can take it, Ben.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the offense and what they need to get better at, and we're worried about the passing game, but it's a 1 week thing. That's how teams take it. They take it 1 week at a time, and they will work on getting better 1 week at a time. And this week they got to beat the Chiefs, right? They got to score against the Chiefs. So Scott, what to you do the Buffalo Bills need to do in order to score enough points to win this game?
I was going to say score more points than the Chiefs, but then you came a little more.
I've been doing this long enough with you that I'm on top of it.
Yeah. Well, they got to get the ball in the end zone, Ben. That's how they're going to score more points. I got there. I think we talked about James Cook is really good. They just got to continue to let him cook. The Chiefs' run defense isn't the best in the league, and I think I saw they're actually the worst in the league against play action. So if they can establish the run early, hit them with play action passes off of that, and kind of get them out of position, the receivers don't have to run great routes if the defense is out of position. So I think they got to use James Cook early, get him going, establish the run, and the longer that we are on the field, that means the longer Patrick Mahomes is not on the field. And the bad man can't hurt you if he's not on the field. So establish the run, win the time of possession, and make it like kind of a mucky game. That's not really what the Chiefs want to do. And then you got the play action off of that, get people open down the field. Hopefully a receiver can step up this week. That would be awesome. But yeah, let James Cook establish play action off of that, take care of the football.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up this comment, Scott, for you to answer as well. Just your thoughts on basically, you talked a little bit about Keon Coleman and the way he could get open or could be used a little bit differently here. And do you think that sort of the mesh play could benefit Keon at all? And obviously Shakir can do that. We know maybe Kincaid can be a part of that as well. But what are your thoughts on getting some mesh plays going and putting Bolton in some difficult pass defense situations?
Yeah, mesh plays are awesome, especially against a man. Chiefs are probably going to play some man against the Bills because that's what a lot of teams do. They want to heat Josh up and they want to play man on the outside and dare somebody to get open. With mesh plays, there's designed picks and there's designed rubs and there's designed confusion, and some two guys aren't on the same page and someone's running open down the field. So basically you think the meshes is just like that. So if they can use that to get guys open, especially close to the line of scrimmage, if they are bringing blitzers, run a mesh, linebackers don't communicate or they run into each other and you get guys open. So yeah, it could be a great way to get Keon the ball in space because that's where he is really dangerous. Obviously he's great at contested catches, but college corners aren't NFL corners. It's not going to happen at the same rate. So if you can get our guys like Keon and Shakir and Kincaid the ball in space, they can make stuff happen. So yeah, would love to see some mesh plays against a man. Like that would have been a play that probably would have worked pretty well on that 22 dots that everything was going around this week of the Josh 10-second sack. It looked like they ran a zone play to beat man, and it didn't work. You have Kincaid sitting in a hole that's not a hole against man, and then kind of routes to find holes in the back, but against man, those aren't going to work. So yeah, use some mesh, get some guys open, run some picks, run some routes. And, you know, like you see like a lot of times, like how is that guy so open? A lot of times it's some kind of a mesh concept and it's a pick or a rub route. And you rarely say, how is that guy so open for the Bills? So maybe we'll see some of it this weekend.
Yeah, you know, I was listening to some things and understanding, you know, Keon did run a lot of crossers, you know, maybe 10, 15-yard crossers in college or in routes, whatever you want to say. And that was kind of his forte. Not seeing a ton of it so far in his career with Buffalo, but would like to see a little bit more of that. But I ball control here is going to be the name of the game on Sunday. I fully believe that you're correct in saying that they're going to try to keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible. And I do think that if Kincaid is not super banged up, I think he can be pretty effective. Now, if he's out there, he's obviously got to be good enough to go. But, you know, people try to play through things and then you don't have your full impact or the ability to have your full impact on the game regardless of how much you try. And I think this week hopefully Kincaid has gained enough health back that he can really sort of get back to being an impact guy. He definitely was scoring touchdowns at a pretty good clip there early on this year, and I hope they can get back to that. So I'm looking for Kincaid for sure to have an impact on this game as far as the pass catchers go, and we'll see how effective. I would like to see Khalil Shakir just be one of those guys that maybe has 8 or 10 catches this week, and just the ability to show that he can sort of carry this team, the wide receiving core, and as far as the pass catchers go. So interesting to see what Shakir does in this game.
I think Kincaid played like 8 snaps on Sunday because they just didn't need him to. So you would hope he didn't aggravate anything. Like he should be pretty fresh.
Yeah,
basically having almost 3 weeks off.
For me, I want to bring up Bob's comment here. Is ease off the penalties. I think that's another one. I mean, I know we talked about turnovers throughout the show. You got to win the turnover battle. At the same time, if you get a good first down play, say you get 5 on first down, but then boom, false start or holding, it's going to set you back. It's a drive killer. So you got to be able to lay off the penalties. And I think, we let James Cook is one thing, but if your run game's not working, don't just stray away from Cook though, right? Like get him out in the flat, get a blocker in front of him. You see so many teams doing that nowadays where they're getting their running back out in the flat, out in space, and they got somebody there that either acts like they're running a route or is running a route. And if it's not going to them, they're set up to block and they're ready to block. So just even if the run game gets off to a slow start, 1, don't get away from the run game, but 2, if you need to stray a little bit away from it, at least keep Cook involved or just a running back involved to make them think, hey, we got to keep our eyes in the backfield, even if it's just a shotgun drop back pass, right? We got to keep it in the backfield, see where the running back's going, whether it's Ty Johnson or James Cook. Just make sure you don't stray away from the running backs if it's not working early. So that's going to be my offensive key to the game is just.
I think we keep saying this too, is like, man, where's Ty Johnson? When's he gonna, get these? Yeah. They had that one drive both with Cook and Ray Davis. I think it was at the Falcons game that that I'm thinking of, or and they just
drive out at halftime,
and it's like they just totally went away from it immediately after that, and it's so mind-boggling. Like they don't want to show that as their tendency or something. I'm not sure, but I really would like to see those 3 guys. We have 3 running backs that are capable in this league here, and I would like to see James Cook get as many touches as possible, but not only being handed the ball or toss the ball, throw him the ball too, and just let's see really if you're gonna ride him as your workhorse guy, then let's use the pass game to do it as well. I think he's definitely capable getting some wheel routes and stuff and getting some plays down the field even, as well as any sort of swings or screens that you might want to run with him. So I think the penalties are a must every game. I really think you magnify it here against the Chiefs because they will, if you beat yourself, they'll let you do that, and they're going to take full advantage every time you make a mistake like that. So penalties are even more magnified in a game of this nature here, where you have such a disciplined team on the other side of it. You really got to stay clean for sure.
I saw the Bills have been called for 17 holdings, but only had 3 holdings called against them.
That's insane to me.
Kind of wild. Like that can't be the case, but also are some of our D linemen just that bad at getting off blocks?
Yeah. It's been a frustration for sure. And that's one thing that I noticed about the Falcons defense when they played against Buffalo. They were able to just disengage.
They're so fast.
And get to the ball carrier or the quarterback so quickly. And it's like, man, I want to see what that looks like in Buffalo. That'd be so cool. It seems like the guys are just stuck to the offensive, stuck to the blockers at times. And then you also have and we're going to get into the defensive preview here too, of when you blitz, you gotta go. You can't sit there at the line of scrimmage and play patty cake with the guys. So, but yeah, penalties definitely have to improve. And in this game, if you beat yourself, I think the Chiefs are going to take full advantage of that. So you have to keep it clean.
Yeah. And even referring back to when you were talking about that Falcons drive where Ray Davis had the receiving touchdown, even when it wasn't a run play or a dump off to the running back, they were play action. It was run, play action, which is, again, bringing their eyes into the backfield. Where's the running back going? boom, somebody else, a receiver, then has one less linebacker to worry about in zone coverage or whatever it is because that linebacker bites. So I don't think play action is utilized well enough in this offense, and I'd love to see it used a little bit more just because I think, especially when you have a guy like Bolton who is going to want to go and get after it, right? He's going to want to get in the backfield. If you can take advantage of that and go play action to get him to bite and go over his head, I think that would be something that they should look to take advantage of. So, yeah, offense, obviously against Kansas City, against Spagnuolo, you're always going to have your work cut out for you. We'll see what their game plan is and if they can execute it. But the defense also has their work cut out for them because instead of going against Spagnuolo, they have to go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and their play calling and Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and their running backs. They're meh, but at the end of the day, they are a team that knows what they're doing. So the defense, Lance, what does the defense have to do in order to shut down Patrick Mahomes, or even not even shut him down, just contain him enough to win this game?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough day, probably covering all the receivers that the Chiefs have. I think the defense has to tackle. That's the biggest thing. And that's obviously really every game. I hate to say it like that, but like they haven't done a great job of tackling this year in their 2 losses and beyond. So the biggest thing I want to see, the way that the Chiefs, if they attack them with all the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage passes that they did last week when we watched them in prime time here, I think they have to be able to tackle them. Obviously, they want to keep the Bills defense wants to keep everyone in front of them, come up and make a play. But with the Chiefs getting the ball out to the perimeter and guys having so much speed, you got to be able to get a hand on them and then take them down to the ground. Seems very simple and cut and dry, but it's really what's going to make or break this game. If they can't get these guys on the ground and they start getting 8 and 10 yards a clip after catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage, it's just not going to go well for them. So if they can show some ability to tackle on the perimeter and then obviously continue to work on their pressure, Hoyt rushing up the middle with Bosa and Groot on the edges with maybe Deion Walker, the other defensive lineman in that set, I think is going to look pretty good as well. So hopefully the height of Walker and the stature up the middle does help sort of throw off some passing lanes as well if they try to go over the middle. But I really think the Chiefs want to try to keep this towards the perimeter and get their speed guys going up the field.
Yeah. What do you think, Scott? Nope. Scott might be frozen.
Well, what do you think, Ben?
Oh, yep. I hear you. There you go.
Am I dead?
No, you're good. You're back.
Yeah, the Chiefs are really fast. Max Harrison's going to help, but he's just one guy. Thinking he's going to play more this week. But like all their guys on the outside are so fast, so we're going to have to cover well and try not to get beat downfield. But the biggest thing is just keeping Patrick Mahomes contained and getting him down. Kind of like Lance was saying, if you let Mahomes break the pocket, like it's over. Someone's going to get open because they're just receivers are too good. You got to get home right away. You can't let Mahomes break the pocket. You can't let him dance around because Mahomes is probably the best in the game. And I would say he might be better than Josh at this, at extending plays and doing things when things break down. So you got to keep him in the pocket. And when you do, get him down. Don't let him run around. Don't let guys get open downfield. And then no Isaiah Pacheco, if they can make him one-dimensional. But honestly, I don't really know if that matters. The Chiefs don't run the ball a whole lot. They still have Kareem Hunt, but you just got to contain Mahomes, keep him in the pocket. And when you got a shot at him, you can't let him get away.
For me, it's, you see this every game with pretty much any quarterback in the league, Josh, Mahomes, whoever you want to name. There's always 1 or 2 plays. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 games a year that each quarterback has that there's not, but there's 1 or 2 games plays every game that you get a chance for a turnover, whether it's an interception or fumble or whatever it is, and you need to take advantage of those. This is a game where if Mahomes gives you one, you can't drop it. You really just can't. You have to take advantage of them. That's probably the Chiefs' mindset as well, is if Josh gives you a ball, you cannot drop it. You cannot give them a second chance on a drive. So they have to do, all the things that you guys said, tackle, right? Just make sure you get home, play disciplined football. But at the same time, and part of it sometimes might be a little bit of luck, is when that luck bounces your way, whether it's a batted ball or whatever it is, you have to take advantage of it and you have to capitalize. So I think getting a turnover when it's given to you, which I think we'll probably see at least one ball that you might have a chance at, maybe two, then you got to take advantage of it. So if you win the turnover battle, you win the game, and the defense, you got to get a turnover to win the turnover battle. So we'll see what they do. But it's going to be a big test. Obviously, everybody knows it, right? Chiefs, Bills. I saw it today, actually, a tweet about it, how it's one of those rivalries where it's like it's a rivalry and each fan base knows it, but it's somehow kind of civil for the most part compared to other rivalries around the NFL when it comes to, even Chiefs Bengals are a big one. Bills Bengals are one that, like, they kind of go at each other hard, where Chiefs and Bills, they'll go after each other, but there's still a good amount of respect between these two teams. And I think it's just another, what is it? You said, Scott, this is number 10 meeting between them. So it's chapter 10, and we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, Stevie Johnson tweeted out not too long ago, I just want to make mention of it because it's relevant, that you can bring in Olave and see nothing change. He doesn't think it's the players. So we talked a little bit about that, sort of Connor McGovern's comments about it sort of being a vanilla scheme and things like that. And that's where I think that, and not to belabor the point because we did make it a little bit, I just want to bring attention to it, that this definitely is going to come down to Joe Brady and what they want to do with these guys to get guys open and get this offense running. So any additional thoughts on that with Stevie Johnson's comments about, if you bring in Olave, you might see nothing change. It goes back to, does Joe Brady know how to use his personnel to the fullest potential?
Yeah, you could do anything and not see anything change. But my thing is, on paper, this Bills wide receiver group is way better than it was last year. That was all everybody said in the offseason. Oh, it doesn't matter. They didn't get a number one because just look top to bottom. It's so much better. And I don't necessarily think that's changed. Obviously, Palmer being out hurts because he's your downfield stretcher, but they have other guys who can do that. Yeah, I think we're going to see changes in the offense. I think we're going to see more creativity. They've been pretty basic. Like you've said, like McGovern said, like anybody has said and noticed. They haven't done anything crazy, but if you can do basic really, really well, you can win most of your football games. But we're getting to the point where it's a game against the Chiefs. The one seed is getting to be on the line. Hell, the division's getting to be on the line. We might need to see them break out some more stuff. So I think the offense is going to look a lot smoother this weekend. If it's not, it's going to be a real long week for all of us in Bills land.
Yeah, for sure. All right, fantasy players start and sit. I'm going to start Xavier Worthy, and I'm going to sit Kareem Hunt. I think the Bills did show enough against the Panthers' run game to warrant my prediction that Kareem Hunt's not going to hurt them much, assuming he sort of takes over the lead back duties if Pacheco can't go. And then Worthy with the speed and things, I think it's going to be a challenge. Max Hairston being a rookie, we'll see how well that can go if they're even playing, one-on-one with each other necessarily. I know the Bills will probably be in some zone, so I'm not sure it'll be necessarily Hairston on Worthy one-on-one by any means, but I think that it's going to be a challenge for the Bills to slow down some of these Chiefs, and I think Worthy might be one of them. So who do you have? Ben, you
zone is still man when there's a man in your zone.
Hey, I like that.
Scott, you want to go next?
Sure. Scott. I'm starting the World Series. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
The Blue Jays have the Dodgers on the ropes. I'm not a Blue Jays fan. I'm a Yankee fan, but I hate the Dodgers more than I hate the Blue Jays. It would be good for baseball if the Blue Jays won. Maybe even save a lockout in 2027. We got Game 6 tomorrow in Toronto. Yamamoto's on the mound for the Dodgers. He was really, really good in Game 2. So excited to watch the World Series. It's been a lot of fun. I love baseball, and I'm sad that it's almost over. I got the Dodgers winning Game 6 and Game 7, unfortunately, but I really hope that doesn't happen.
You're set.
Yeah, I'm starting the World Series.
Are we just doing starts? Okay, sorry, I missed that
You
part.
can do whatever you want, Ben. It's your show. You asked me a fantasy football question. I talked about baseball, so clearly we're pretty fast and loose with the rules.
Yeah, my start. I'm gonna go with Rashard Smith, the running back.
Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, sorry, Lance. I know Lance. Lance has this cool thing where he bets on something and the opposite happens. So
way too often.
So yeah,
Rashard not on Smith, Saturday.
Lance, it may be
just used
reverse psychology. Reverse psychology, Lance.
4-0, baby.
You gotta bet all the overs for every Chiefs player. It'll hit the under, so at least the Bills win. But no, he's gonna be my start. He obviously, we talked about Pacheco being hurt. He's the guy they like to utilize in the passing game, and I think Hunt is just not a good running back anymore. I mean, they're gonna need a little bit of change of pace. They're gonna need a guy to provide that spark, and I think out of the two there in the backfield, it's going to be him having the better game. So I think he'll be the one that you should start, especially just because if they get him the ball out of the backfield, the Bills struggle at tackling sometimes. He could make a big play or two.
Hunt does have a pretty good rush EPA and EPA per attempt and all that, but I think the Bills showed enough.
I think he can kickstart that offense.
Well, I think a lot of his touches though come inside the 5, right? So like that, I don't know how much that affects EPA if you're scoring on like every other time you touch the ball.
It's going to be higher. Yep.
But yeah, that's going to be my start. My sit is going to be both the Bills and Chiefs defense. I think this will be
Who's playing defense then?
Nobody this weekend probably. I think both quarterbacks are going to have a day. I think it's going to be another one to add to the books and say, wow, this rivalry, even if it's one side in the playoffs to this point, is a phenomenal rivalry. And
it's one-sided in the regular season, baby.
Yeah, one-sided no matter which way you look at it. But it is a phenomenal rivalry, great for the NFL. And I think, one of you two said maybe game of the week, and I believe it could be the game of the week.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be for sure. All right, here comes the game predictions then.
Whoa, hey, I didn't do my
you want to sit?
Yet.
All right.
I'm sitting daylight savings time. Don't forget, set your clocks back. Extra hour of sleep on Sunday. For everybody getting up early for the tailgate, going to feel a little nicer. It used to be an extra hour at the bars, but now that I'm old, extra hour of sleep.
I dig it. Unless you have a young kid, and then you can't predict that. But we'll see what happens. All right. Game predictions, drop them in the comments if you'd like. Roy came in here already. He is not convinced that the Bills will win, or can't. Is it that they can or that they will, Roy? I guess you got to clarify that for me. 31-20, he's taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs this week, 34-31, as much as I hate to do that. I just think the Bills have had the Chiefs number in the regular season, and maybe the Chiefs don't. Maybe the Chiefs, are catching us where we're in a little bit of lull, and they're hot right now. So I think higher scoring game, 34-31. Chiefs win this one.
Also going Chiefs, as much as I hate to do it. 27-24.
My score prediction, I don't really have a score prediction, but I know at least at the tailgate, Scott will probably have like 16. I'll have probably like 7. So I'll probably lose that battle when it comes to that. So, but when it comes to Bills Chiefs, fair. I'm going to flip a coin on Sunday and we'll find out. So, or if Lance bets, scoring, right? Then I'll go with the other team that he bet.
I'm not going to bet.
I'll say the Chiefs.
I'm not going to bet the money line or the spread, or if I'm betting anything, it'll definitely be the over on.
A lot of sharp money on the Chiefs, which doesn't make me feel good.
Amazing. I have no idea what that means, but more and sharp
means the smart people are betting on the Chiefs.
Amazing. All right. Any other bets you want to throw out there for the people to lose their money on this weekend?
Or make money.
Win their money on.
I like Texas +3 and Cal +6.5.
Amazing.
On Saturdays.
That does it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Again, Monster Energy is the official energy partner of Built-In Buffalo, 716 Barbershop. Go on the Cut app and book your cut with Dennis and Matt and the shop there on Broadway in Depew. If you are going to the game, please stop over. I'm going to try to have the camera out a little bit more this week for Chiefs Bills. Obviously, get some pregame predictions. Let's get some content out there on the social medias. So if you want to be on a video, stop by, say hello to myself, Scott, or Ben. We'll try to record something, quick thought with you, and score prediction or otherwise would be a lot of fun. Get yourself a free Monster Energy drink or a Southern Tier Brewing Company beer and have some fun.
Saying, Bob, they don't need to win. Just have to lose by less than 3.
Right, +3. 97 Rock will be there as well with their tailgate scene. So it'll be a great party over the Big Tree Inn on Sunday. Stop on over. And with that, go Bills.
Go Bills.